Good morning, Blackhawks. I am Brett Burton, principal at Washington Middle School. Thank you, Generals. So, I've had a long experience with Aurora School District 129, many years, student as well as an educator. I attended McCleary Elementary School, went to Jefferson Junior High, 7th and 8th grade, and then went to West Aurora High School, and thankfully graduated in 1990. So a long time. Actually, Robin and I are classmates in the class of 1990, so very small world. In addition to that, as an educator, I've worked in many schools. I spent some time at Lincoln Elementary School. Remember the old Lincoln? We stored desks and things of that nature there now. Did some summer camps and substitute taught there. Greenman Elementary, student taught and also taught at Greenman. Taught at Goodwin Elementary School. And also was a principal at Nicholson Elementary. So, as you can tell, I jump a little bit. It's part of my ADD disorder, but I digress. Junior high-wise, obviously principal at Washington right now. Also worked at Jefferson Middle School as an AP. Jayhawks, go Jayhawks. All right. Also coached at Jewell Middle School when it first opened a long time ago. And I think Dr. Scalia was still there then too. So. And in addition, I also worked at West Aurora High School in different capacities as well. But the purpose of my talk today is not to bore you and lull you to sleep in this rainstorm about my long history, as a student or as an educator in District 129. However, I am compelled to ask you a question. And that question is, why do we struggle with accountability? You see, personally, I can be honest with you, I've struggled with it. It's against my rebellious nature, which if I have, I think most of my teachers that were here at West tell you I rebelled a little bit. But during the course of those years and time, I've learned to embrace it somewhat. You see, I understand as teachers and educators, we have a lot of accountability things on us, right? We have websites to update. We have grades to enter, an e-school. We have Schoology posts. CFAs, CSAs to give and assess and as well to issue standardized tests. So we have a lot of things that we're held accountable that are on our plate. But I can tell you, one major thread that I learned through my experience in this district was that accountability may be favorable at times. So I'm going to tell you a story. This is kind of about my story with accountability. And it started my freshman year back in 1986. Long time ago, right? So my freshman year, I think I have a picture of me somewhere. There's that nice young man who knew everything there was to know, nice set of hair. You guys know any 14, 15-year-olds that know everything about life, right? So that was me. I had the pop collar, little Ocean Pacific from Carson's on Route 31. I was styling back. It was important. And plus, my hair was very important. Obviously, it's not as much anymore, but those things happen with life, right? So, entering West Aurora High School as a freshman, played freshman football. After the season, a group of buddies of mine introduced me to a fairly large man who thought weightlifting and weight training was important. His name was Ira Jefferson. Coach Jefferson was a former head football coach at West Aurora High School. He's currently retired. He was one of many influences with accountability that I got to experience. And here's Coach Jay. He was a little intimidating, but became one of my closest friends to this day. So my freshman year, we had a small weight room, nothing fancy like Coach Krause has now. We had this small little dungeon weight room which is located in the blue field house where the current athletic training room was. It was like half the size at that time. And so part of Coach Jay's methodology was we had to show up 4 days a week. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. We got off Wednesdays. I don't know why. It wasn't for church or mass or anything like that, but we got off Wednesday, so I was happy with that. We had to be in the weight room by 6 a.m. All right? And Coach Jay had 3 simple rules. 1 was you work hard. 2 was you clean up your weights. And the 3rd one was you don't miss. Now this is kind of a segue to my accountability. You see, as a young man, very immature young man at that time, would get a little lazy, so I'd miss maybe a day here and there. Well, on those days I would miss, I was a little embarrassed because I knew I should have gotten up and went to the weight room. Because not only did I let him down, but I also let my teammates down. So I would organize my day in transitions from class to class in order to avoid him. So first hour, if I had a class in one section of the building, I knew where he stood between first and second period, so I took the long way in order to avoid him because I knew he was going to hold me accountable. And accountability is a little different then, Like, I was raised in a different era, so he would find you anyway, but with accountability with him was he would get in your face and say, not slow, nice words. I mean, this is an educated audience. We're going to not digress on some of those language pieces there. But nonetheless, he would let me know that I disappointed him and I let my teammates down. You see, that hurt. And I learned at that time that if I wanted to be successful, that accountability was important. And either he was going to hold me accountable or I needed to hold myself accountable. And so I learned along the way that I prefer to hold myself accountable than have some very large man yell at me. But once again, he's a good close friend of mine. And it came out of love. Yelling came out of love, right? Not out of embarrassment, but being embarrassed and he got over it. But once again, it was a different time period. So once again, as educators, I have learned that I prefer to keep myself accountable, all right? Everything I do is on me, okay? I'm responsible for my own actions. And as educators, it's important that I would like for you to think about your own accountability structures and standards in place. Because accountability is the difference between success and failure. I've learned that lesson here as a student and it's carried with me throughout my life. And I'm not telling you I haven't made mistakes. Many of you that know me personally can probably say, how in the heck is this guy up here right now? And I understand that, including my own wife and my kids, right? All your imperfections. So teachers, I'm going to challenge you with one thing, and that is to embrace accountability. Our kids deserve it, you deserve it. Because accountability is a difference between success and failure. Go Blackhawks.